The island was supposed to be a reward. That's what they told us at the company meeting, an exclusive corporate retreat on a private island, meant to recharge our minds and remind us why loyalty mattered. To me, it just felt like distance. Distance from my 8-year-old son, Ethan. Distance from the tiny apartment where his school backpack still hung on a broken chair. Distance from the life I actually cared about. I was a single dad by necessity, not choice. Ethan's mother passed away 3 years earlier, leaving me with grief I never learned how to explain to a child. Every decision I made revolved around him: extra shifts, missed birthdays with friends, nights where exhaustion was louder than hope. My boss, Eleanor Whitmore, knew me only as reliable. The man who never said no. The employee who stayed late. The quiet one. Eleanor Whitmore was a legend in our industry. Cold. Brilliant. Untouchable. She ran the company she inherited from her father with an iron spine and a perfectly measured smile. People feared disappointing her more than they feared being fired. I had spoken to her maybe 3 times in 5 years, all of them short, professional, and emotionally sterile. That's why seeing her alone that evening stopped me in my tracks. The resort restaurant was open air, lanterns swaying gently as the ocean breathed in and out behind it. Couples laughed softly. Glasses clinked. Somewhere, a violin played something slow and hopeful. I was walking past, planning to grab food and retreat to my room, when I saw her. Eleanor Whitmore sat at a table for 2. One chair was empty. She wore no power suit, no sharp edges. Just a simple white dress, her hair loose, her posture tense in a way I had never seen in the boardroom. She kept checking her phone, then setting it face down, then lifting her gaze toward the entrance like she was bracing for disappointment. I didn't know why I knew this, but I knew she was on a blind date. Minutes passed. 10. 15. The candle burned lower. The chair remained empty. I should have walked away. Instead, I ordered a coffee and sat at the bar, pretending not to watch as something quiet broke behind her eyes. When she finally exhaled, long and defeated, I felt it in my chest. It was the same sigh I made when daycare called to say Ethan was sick and I didn't know how I'd make it work. That was when she whispered to herself, "Of course." I stood up before my courage could argue with me. I walked to her table. "Excuse me," I said, my voice steady despite the pounding in my ears. "I don't mean to intrude, but, would you mind if I sat here for a moment?" She looked up, surprised, then confused, then guarded. "You're one of my employees," she said quietly. "Yes," I replied. "And you're alone." The silence between us was dangerous. Then she gestured to the empty chair. "5 minutes," she said. "Then you go." That was the moment everything began that we didn't talk at first. The ocean filled the space where words should have been. Finally, she broke the silence. "He canceled," she said, staring at the candle. "Or maybe he never planned to come. Either way, this is embarrassing." "Only if you think being human is embarrassing," I said before thinking. She looked at me sharply, then laughed, soft, genuine, nothing like the controlled chuckle she used in meetings. "You're brave," she said. "Or foolish." "I've been called both," I replied. She asked why I was on the island instead of enjoying the luxury like everyone else. I told her the truth. About Ethan. About missing bedtime stories. About how success feels hollow when your child asks why you're never home. Her expression changed, not pity, but recognition. "I built an empire," she said quietly. "And I can't convince one man to show up." That's when I did the unthinkable. I reached into my pocket and placed my phone on the table. On the screen was a picture of Ethan, grinning with a missing tooth, holding a handmade sign that read, "Good luck, Dad." "I'm not here as your employee tonight," I said. "I'm here as a man who understands loneliness." If you want, let's pretend this is your date. She stared at the phone. At the picture. At me. Just for tonight, she said. We talked for hours. Not about work. Not about numbers or strategy. We talked about childhood dreams, about fear, about how success can feel like a prison if you build it alone. She admitted she had agreed to the blind date because her mother said she was running out of time. I admitted I was terrified of failing my son more than anything else. At some point, the violin stopped. The candles burned out. The restaurant emptied. And something real sat between us. The next morning, rumors spread like wildfire. By noon, I was called into her private office. I expected termination. Instead, she closed the door and said, I don't want to lose you. Not as an employee. As a person. Weeks later, she restructured my role so I could work remotely. She invested in a childcare program for single parents at the company. She showed up to Ethan's school fundraiser, awkward, nervous, human. We didn't rush love. We built trust. And the unthinkable thing I did that night? I reminded a powerful woman, and myself, that we are more than our titles. More than our fears. More than the chairs left empty beside us. Sometimes, all it takes to change a life is the courage to sit down, when you were never invited.